Welcome to my channel, Rise Up with Steve. Please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Let me tell you something most women don't want to hear, but every man knows is true. A man does not fall deepest when you chase him, when you beg him to stay, or when you make yourself available no matter how he treats you. A man falls deepest for the woman who has the strength to let him go. See, when a woman lets a man go with dignity, without drama, without tears on the phone every night, something happens in that man's mind. For the first time, he has to sit alone with his thoughts. No more constant attention. No more emotional safety net. No more woman reminding him of his value every single day. That silence becomes loud. Men are wired to value what they earn, not what is handed to them. When you stop holding on, when you stop fixing things for him, when you stop proving your worth, he starts feeling the weight of your absence. And that's when love hits him the hardest. Let me tell you something real, something most people don't understand about love and relationships. Men don't fall deepest for the woman who chases them, who keeps calling, who keeps explaining her pain, or who keeps holding on even when she's being taken for granted. A man falls deepest for the woman who has the strength to let him go. Not because she doesn't care, but because she cares enough about herself to walk away when she is no longer valued. When a woman lets a man go, something powerful happens inside his mind. At first, he may feel free. He may think he escaped responsibility. He may believe he has more options now. But freedom without purpose turns into emptiness. The silence that follows the absence of a woman who truly cared becomes loud. There is no one checking on him, no one believing in him when he is unsure, no one providing emotional safety without asking for anything in return. That is when the weight of her absence begins to sink in. Men are built to appreciate effort and value struggle. What comes easy is rarely respected. When a woman gives everything without limits, a man often becomes comfortable. Comfort does not create depth, challenge does. Letting a man go creates that challenge. It forces him to face life without the woman who supports him emotionally, mentally, and sometimes spiritually. And that absence makes him question things he never questioned before. A woman who lets a man go is not trying to teach him a lesson, she is choosing herself. She is saying, without words, that love should not cost her dignity. That message stays in a man's heart longer than any argument ever could. He remembers the woman who walked away with grace far more than the one who stayed and begged. After she leaves, a man begins to reflect. Reflection is dangerous for a man who lost a good woman. He starts replaying moments in his head. The conversations, the latter, the support she gave him during his lowest times. He compares other women to her and realizes something important. Not every woman loves deeply. And not every woman has the strength to walk away when she is not appreciated. Letting go creates mystery. When a woman stops explaining herself, stops chasing, stops proving her worth, a man is left with unanswered questions, and unanswered questions stay in the mind. He wonders why she didn't fight harder, why she didn't beg, why she chose peace over him. That curiosity turns into respect, and respect turns into deep emotional attachment. Many women believe that staying proves love. In reality, sometimes leaving proves strength. A man does not truly miss a woman until he feels her absence in moments where she used to be present. When life gets hard and she is no longer there to encourage him, that is when he understands her value. Pain is often the teacher that clarity listens to. A man falls deepest when he realizes he lost something rare. A woman who loved him genuinely, who believed in him, who stood by him, yet refused to accept less than she deserved. That combination is powerful. It shows love without weakness, care without desperation, and strength without cruelty. If a man returns after a woman lets him go, it is not because she chased him. It is because he finally understood what he lost. And if he never returns, then the woman still wins because she chose self-respect over attachment. Love should never require a woman to shrink herself to keep a man. Sometimes letting go is the highest form of love. Love for yourself, love for peace, and love for a future that includes someone who sees your worth without needing to lose you first. Let me speak honestly, because the truth about men and love is often misunderstood. A man does not fall deepest for the woman who stays no matter how poorly she is treated. He does not fall deepest for the woman who keeps forgiving without change, who keeps reaching out when her effort is not returned, or who keeps lowering her standards to keep a man comfortable. A man falls deepest for the woman who knows when to let him go, even when her heart is still attached. When a woman lets a man go, it creates a shift in power that he never expected. He was used to her presence, her patience, her understanding. He was used to knowing she would still be there even if he pulled away. Once that certainty disappears, reality hits. Men are not always emotional in the moment, but they feel deeply when time and distance force them to sit with their thoughts. That is when emotions surface. At first, he may feel relieved. He may think he has regained control or freedom. But freedom without connection quickly becomes loneliness. He notices the empty spaces where her care used to exist, the messages that no longer come, the encouragement that once lifted him when he doubted himself. These losses don't hurt immediately, but they grow heavier with time. Men are natural problem solvers. When a woman is always available, there is no problem to solve. When she walks away, the problem becomes clear. He begins to ask himself why she left, what he failed to give, and whether he underestimated her value. That mental struggle is where emotional attachment deepens. A woman who lets go sends a silent message louder than words. She shows that her love had boundaries, that she was willing to give, but not at the cost of her self-respect. Men respect boundaries more than endless sacrifice, even if they don't admit it out loud. That respect plants itself deep in a man's heart. Distance changes perception. When she is gone, a man stops focusing on her flaws and starts remembering her strengths. He remembers how she supported him when others didn't, how she listened without judgment, how she believed in his potential even when he doubted himself. Absence filters memory, and what remains is usually what mattered most. Letting go also forces growth. A man who loses a strong woman is forced to mature or repeat the same cycle with someone else. He realizes that not every woman will stay through inconsistency, emotional unavailability, or lack of effort. That realization can be painful, but pain is often the beginning of self-awareness. Many men don't realize the depth of their feelings until the woman is no longer there to absorb their confusion. When she stops trying to fix him, save him, or wait for him to change, he is left to face himself. And facing yourself is the hardest thing a man can do. A woman who walks away with calm strength leaves a permanent imprint. Even if a man moves on, he carries the lesson with him. He compares future relationships to the one he lost and recognizes the difference between convenience and real connection. If he returns, it is because time taught him what comfort could not. And if he doesn't, the woman still gains something priceless: peace, clarity, and the freedom to receive love without chasing it. Letting go does not mean losing. Often, it means choosing a love that starts with yourself. There is a truth about men in love that many people avoid talking about because it sounds uncomfortable at first. Men do not fall deepest for the woman who holds on the tightest. They fall deepest for the woman who knows when to release her grip, even when it hurts. Letting go is not an act of indifference. It is an act of emotional strength, and that strength changes the way a man sees a woman forever. When a woman decides to step back, the man is often confused. He was used to her presence, her availability, her patience. He may not have always shown appreciation, but he relied on it more than he realized. The moment she stops calling, stops explaining herself, stops asking for reassurance, the dynamic shifts, silence enters, and silence forces reflection. Men often delay emotional processing. While women feel and express immediately, men feel later when the noise dies down. That is why letting go is so powerful. Time creates space, and space creates awareness. In that space, a man begins to feel what he once ignored: the warmth of her care, the stability she brought, the way she made life feel grounded. These realizations don't come all at once. They build slowly, but deeply. A woman who lets go without anger or revenge leaves behind something unforgettable. She doesn't argue her worth. She demonstrates it through her absence. Men respond more strongly to loss than to explanation. You can tell a man how valuable you are 1,000 times, but the moment he feels your absence, he understands it in a way words could never achieve. Letting go also removes emotional safety. When a woman is always there, a man subconsciously believes he can delay commitment, delay effort, delay growth. Once she leaves, that safety disappears. He is forced to confront the consequences of his choices. And consequences are what awaken emotional depth in a man. There's also dignity in walking away. A woman who chooses peace over chaos, self-respect over attachment, sends a powerful signal. She shows that love does not mean self-abandonment. Men may not say it, but they admire that strength. It challenges them to rise or accept that they were not ready. As time passes, memory becomes selective. A man stops focusing on small disagreements and starts remembering how she stood by him during difficult moments, how she believed in him when he doubted himself, how she created a sense of home, not through control, but through care. That kind of presence is rare, and rarity creates value. Many men try to replace what they lost, but replacement only highlights the difference. They meet other women and realize that attention is common, but loyalty, patience, and quiet strength are not. That realization often brings regret, not because the woman left, but because she was underestimated. Letting go does not guarantee that a man will return, but it guarantees something more important. It preserves a woman's self-worth. If a man does come back, it is because he has grown enough to recognize what he lost. If he doesn't, then the woman has still protected herself from a relationship that required her to give more than she received. The deepest attachment a man feels often comes after loss, not because he enjoys pain, but because pain removes illusion. And the woman who had the courage to walk away becomes the standard by which all others are measured. There is a powerful lesson hidden inside emotional distance, and most people only understand it after they have lost something valuable. Men do not fall deepest when everything is easy and familiar. They fall deepest when they are faced with the reality of absence. A woman who knows how to let a man go without bitterness and without begging leaves an impact that stays with him far longer than constant presence ever could. When a woman chooses to step away, a man often does not react immediately. He may appear calm, distracted, or even relieved. This is not because he does not care, but because men process emotions differently. At first, the mind focuses on freedom, but freedom quickly turns into emptiness when there's no one to share it with. The quiet moments, the late nights, the challenges of life begin to feel heavier when the woman who once provided emotional balance is no longer there. A man becomes attached not when he is overwhelmed with attention, but when he is forced to notice what is missing. When a woman stops reminding him of her value, stops asking to be chosen, stops trying to prove her importance, he begins to question his own actions. The lack of effort from her side creates a mirror for him to look into, and what he sees is often uncomfortable. Letting go also removes familiarity. Familiarity breeds comfort, and comfort can create neglect. When a woman leaves, that comfort is replaced by uncertainty. A man wonders if he made a mistake, if he took something for granted, if he will ever find the same emotional connection again. These thoughts do not come from manipulation. They come from genuine realization. A woman who lets go with calm strength shows emotional maturity. She is not trying to punish or teach a lesson. She is choosing her mental peace. That choice communicates confidence, and confidence is deeply attractive. Men may resist it at first, but over time they respect it. Respect is the foundation of deep emotional attachment. As days pass, memories resurface. A man begins to recall moments when she supported him without judgment, when she believed in him during his weakest phases, when her presence made life feel stable. Absence magnifies these memories. What once felt ordinary now feels rare, and rarity changes perception. Many men attempt to distract themselves, but distraction cannot replace emotional connection. They may meet other people, but comparisons begin unconsciously. He realizes that not everyone offers patience, loyalty, and understanding. The woman who left becomes the quiet standard in his mind. Even if he never admits it, letting go also teaches a man accountability. Without someone constantly forgiving him or waiting for him to change, he is forced to face the consequences of emotional inconsistency. Growth often begins at the point of loss. The pain of realizing what he lost creates awareness that comfort never could. Whether a man returns or not is not the measure of a woman's success. The real victory is that she did not lose herself trying to hold on to someone who was unsure. Letting go is not the end of love. Sometimes it is the moment love finally becomes clear. There is a quiet strength in walking away that most people misunderstand. To let someone go does not mean the love was weak. It means the self-respect was stronger. Men often do not fall deepest when a woman stays and tolerates everything. They fall deepest when they realize the woman they thought would always be there has chosen herself instead. That realization changes something inside a man. When a woman is constantly present, constantly forgiving, constantly available, a man can begin to see that presence is guaranteed. Not because he is cruel, but because familiarity makes people careless. He assumes she will always understand, always wait, always stay. The moment she steps back, that assumption breaks. And when assumptions break, awareness begins. At first, a man may feel like nothing has changed. He goes about his routine, talks to friends, distracts himself. But slowly, reality starts to show. The emotional support he relied on without noticing is gone. The encouragement that helped him push through difficult days is missing. The sense of being understood without having to explain himself disappears. These absences create an emotional echo that grows louder with time. Men often connect emotions to experience rather than words. Explaining feelings repeatedly rarely creates change. Loss does. When a woman lets go, she creates an experience a man cannot ignore. He begins to understand her value not through conversation, but through the emptiness left behind. A woman who walks away calmly sends a message of confidence. She shows that love does not mean accepting inconsistency or emotional neglect. Men may not respond immediately, but they notice. Respect grows in the space she leaves behind. And respect, more than attention, is what creates deep attachment. Distance also allows memory to soften the past. Small arguments fade while meaningful moments remain. He remembers how she stood by him during uncertainty, how she believed in him when he doubted himself, how her presence made life feel more stable. What was once familiar becomes rare in his mind. Many men try to replace what they lost, but replacement often leads to comparison. Other connections may offer excitement or novelty, but they lack depth. That comparison reveals the difference between temporary attention and genuine emotional support. Realizing that difference often brings regret. Letting go also protects a woman's dignity. She does not chase closure or validation. She accepts that love should not require her to abandon herself. That strength becomes part of how she is remembered. Even if a man never returns, he carries the lesson with him. Deep attachment often forms after loss, not during comfort. The woman who had the courage to leave becomes a reference point in a man's emotional life. She represents what it feels like to lose something real. And that feeling stays long after the relationship ends. There is a moment in many relationships when a woman realizes that holding on is costing her more than letting go. That moment is painful, but it is also powerful. Men often do not fall deepest when a woman stays through everything. They fall deepest when the woman who loved them chooses peace over persistence and walks away with her dignity intact. When a woman finally lets go, it creates a silence a man is not prepared for. He was used to her presence, her patience, her willingness to communicate and adjust. Even if he did not always show appreciation, he depended on the stability she brought into his life. Once that stability is gone, he feels unsettled. The absence does not hurt immediately, but it slowly begins to affect him in ways he did not expect. Men often associate love with comfort. As long as the comfort is there, they rarely question it. When the comfort disappears, the mind starts asking questions. Why did she stop trying? Why did she not fight harder? Why does her absence feel heavier than her presence ever did? These questions lead a man to examine his own behavior, something he may have avoided while the relationship felt secure. A woman who lets go without anger leaves behind a powerful impression. She does not argue, threaten, or beg. She simply removes her energy. That quiet exit speaks louder than emotional confrontation. Men understand actions more clearly than words, and the action of walking away communicates value, strength, and self-respect. Time plays an important role. As days pass, the initial sense of freedom fades, and reflection begins. He remembers moments he once overlooked, the late-night conversations, the encouragement during stressful times, the way she made him feel understood. Absence magnifies these memories. What once felt ordinary now feels rare and irreplaceable. Distance also removes distraction. Without her attention, a man is left alone with his thoughts. He realizes that not every woman offers patience, loyalty, and emotional consistency. He may try to replace her, but comparison becomes unavoidable. Other connections may feel exciting at first, but they lack the depth he once had. Letting go often becomes the turning point for a man's emotional growth. Losing a strong woman forces him to mature or repeat the same mistakes elsewhere. Growth rarely comes from comfort, it comes from consequence. And the consequence of losing someone valuable leaves a lasting lesson. Whether or not a man returns is not the true outcome. The real outcome is that the woman preserved her self-worth. She chose not to stay in a place where love required her to shrink. In doing so, she became unforgettable. Men fall deepest not because a woman stayed, but because she had the strength to walk away.